We've often referred to the Miami Dolphins as a team with too many Ferraris and not enough dump trucks. Well, the best Ferrari they had is now in the garage with Tyreek Hill. We'll discuss that and more here on Locked On NFL.
The barbershop is open and Tony Wiggins has a chair for you. He's ready with some real NFL talk. The local experts of Locked On bring their expertise, and Wiggy is ready with his clippers and shears. Sit down and enjoy. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your team every day here on Locked On NFL. We are Locked On NFL, the barbershop, and I'm Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On NFL Barbershop Show here with Matt Williamson, who joins me each and every Friday from the Peacock and Williamson podcast. We're going to navigate around the National Football League and use the local hosts and their clips to kind of put you in their situation so you have your finger on the pulse of the NFL. It is your team every day. We always thank you and the everydayers for making us your first listen here on Locked On NFL. And we want to thank you for listening to Locked On NFL. And reminder that you can follow our show and hear new episodes ad-free daily on Amazon Music. So make sure you go and check that out. Episode like the one today, that is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Move the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. I'm going to be moved by letting you guys know right now how we're going to do the show today. At the end of the show, we're going to do a whip around and pick them as we always do. Right in the middle, Matt covers the Steelers. We're going to talk about two teams in that division, the Bengals and the Browns, right? And talk about how much of a disaster they have been. But we're going to start talking about the Miami Dolphins. Won a game last week, but ultimately lost. First ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion, Tyreek Hill, had a real bad injury. Turns out from what we hear is not as bad as it looked, and maybe it's because he was in such prime physical condition. They expect him to play next year. We don't know where that's going to be. But, Matt, let me tell you something. I don't know where Miami's going, brother. We've been talking about them all year. When that happened, I said, I cannot wait to talk to Matt Williamson. They're in a bad spot as an organization, man. It's like they're floating around like a leaf in a windstorm. It's like wherever you end up, that's where you're going to end up.
1,000%. And things weren't going well before the injury, just to say the least. And I don't like the way they're built. I do give them credit for trying something new, and they kind of pushed all their chips in. But a lot of times when you push all your chips in, you lose. And now they are dealing with those ramifications. The one positive is I'm excited to see more of Waddle as a number one, and I'm really excited and rooting for Darren Waller, considering his back, his backstory is maybe he can catch a bunch of balls like Jonnu Smith did last year and get himself back on the map. But overall, I just don't see a big plan or anything real positive to take from this organization. And we could talk about in the coming weeks, but I think the trade deadline across the league is going to be really active because there's 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. And it sounds like we're going to talk about a few of them that are in dire straits already that could start moving pieces.
Yeah, man. It's going to be real interesting. And one of those pieces was thought to be, or the people thought was going to be, Tyreek Hill, who's now banged up. And listen to Kyle Krabs, and you can hear the concern in his voice for this franchise.
Now, your hand has been forced. You resisted trading Tyreek Hill. You kept him on the roster. You wanted to make it work. 3.5 games into the season, Tyreek Hill's season is unfortunately over, but you have 13 more games left. And the writing's always been on the wall that Tyreek Hill this year was probably going to be his last year in Miami.
Yeah, it's going to be his last year in Miami. There's like $30-some-odd million. I don't know if it's guaranteed or not that he's due next year. So I know for a fact Miami is in a bit of a quandary. Look, I don't think they're going to have the same coach. I don't think they're going to have the same GM. For their sake, they were probably really hoping to try to salvage as much as this they could, and then at the trade deadline, trade him to somebody that really needed a wide receiver to get over the hump, even if it's in a division like the Buffalo or something like that. But now none of that stuff's going to matter because he is gone for the season. A team that lost a game last week that I did not expect him to lose was the Los Angeles Chargers. Had a lot of good things going for him, and then just did not show up. Justin Herbert he's had these games on the East Coast where he does this. He did it against the Jaguars before. He has done this. I saw him do it against the Ravens where he looked like he couldn't hit the side of a barn with a rock. It's for some reason when he travels this way, they may need to lean into that new running game from that rookie they got that looks pretty good. Listen to the guys from Locked On Chargers.
Hello, give him more carries. This is not rocket science. It is obvious to see with anybody who is watching the Chargers play football. Omarion Hampton has the it factor. He has that ability to get a crease and take it to the house. That is what he is capable of doing.
Of course he's capable of doing it. And Harbaugh knows that. But by the same token, man, you got a dude back there making all of that money, and you want to put it in his hands. Quentin Johnson's playing better. You got Ladd McConkey. There's probably – and there's some people that actually believe that Harbaugh is a little too conservative. So for people actually begging for him to be conservative when folks accuse him of being too conservative, that's rich, bro.
Yeah, you're right about the Chargers going west to east, and Herbert in particular. This is not a new occurrence for them. And let's give the Giants a little bit of credit. I mean, I think Dart invigorated them a little bit. Abdul Carter, the other first-round pick, had kind of a breakout game. We know what Dexter Lawrence is. And all this talk's fine about Hampton and the receivers and Herbert. But to me, the lead story is Alt. I mean, you lose Slater a couple of months ago. You can't replace tackles, and now you have to replace two that might have been, if I had to build a team and got one set of tackles in the league to do it, I think I would take the Chargers. And now you're playing with a bunch of backups and problems. You might not have any choice but to run the ball and play small ball a little bit. That tackle problem is big.
How long is Alt out? He's not gone? Is he gone for the duration, or do they?
I don't think it's for the season. I think he's on injured reserve designated to return, but they haven't said exactly when that return is going to be.
You know, it's crazy, and I really hate injuries. I don't celebrate anybody suffering from injuries, man, but there's all this talk that the Chargers should have taken Malik Neighbors, and then both of those guys get hurt in the same game. It's just like,
I didn't think about that. Yeah,
that's the whole Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase argument all over again. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And everybody's happy with their picks.
Everybody's happy with their picks.
Right, they're great players.
It's too bad. We'll get to Jackson Dart. I was thinking about putting Jackson Dart in the show today, but I don't want people to think that I'm biased because Patricia Traynor is my girl, and I'm gonna just put her on here all the time. But we do need to talk about what's going on up there in the bottom of the AFC West. I mean North. This is a disaster for Cincinnati, and we kind of felt that. But then this Shedeur Sanders Cleveland thing, I'm mixed up about it. I don't know how I feel about it. It's really, really crazy and weird, and maybe that's why people wanted to stay away from it in the first place. We'll discuss that more here on Locked On NFL. All right, today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home, whether it's sports bars dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what people do when they need to come together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives, especially here where I live. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, man, and there are some tremendous places right down the street for me that take Square, and I get my stuff processed properly without ever having to worry about any shenanigans. It's a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world, and you can go to square.com/go/LockedOnNFL to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot wherever you are. You'll be happy you did. Square. We'll see you in the neighborhood. And today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Mazda. Man, oh man, Mazda makes the best cars that you can imagine. For those who believe it, it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. Mazda is moving the game forward. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This moment that moved the game forward for me is Ashton Genty last week after he was supposed to be a dude who wasn't special, according to people that I respect. And what does he do? Well, I'll tell you what he does. He scores touchdowns and he breaks tackles. That's what he did. And he showed that when they feed him the football, maybe they need to work on feeding Brock Bowers the ball too out in Las Vegas, that good things can happen. But when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. There he is. My man Matt Williamson's here. We're about to talk some AFC North. And no, we are not going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. I talked about them twice. I talked about them yesterday, and I talked about them earlier in the week. It's worthy of being talked about right now because they're struggling. But as bad as it might be for you Baltimore fans, you can still look down and see the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are a hot mess, and we kind of figured that was going to be that way, as it was trending that way, and certainly it's now trending. I call it the pink slip 4x1 relay, and every week I look up and Zach Taylor is right there handing the baton off to probably Brian Callahan down there in Tennessee about who's going to be but listen to the guys from Locked On Bengals talk about how crappy the football has been for the last 2 weeks.
The Bengals had a debacle in Denver, and that's 8 straight quarters of unwatchable football, really on both sides of the ball from this team, to the point that we talked about death spirals, we talked about dead cat bounces, and I'm running out of words to describe what could be happening to this team. A long way to go, of course, but tonight we have to talk about another disaster performance from a team that didn't look like it belonged in the NFL and the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm embarrassed. Matt, my Jacksonville Jaguars are 3-1. The one team they lost to was the Bengals. And they were winning when Joe Burrow got hurt and left the game. I'm almost embarrassed to even think about it, but they look atrocious.
Atrocious. I mean, fireable, to be honest with you. And I don't throw that around often because, hey, I've been fired and I know these are human beings. The defense, I entirely blame them for because it was miserable last year and they really just didn't do much to make it any better. I mean, so what do you expect to happen to the defense? And it's one of the worst in the leagues yet again. Now, if it wasn't for Tennessee, and it's even rivaling Tennessee, the offense is as bad as any in the league. I mean, it really, really is. And to be honest, Wig, I've thought for a couple of years, maybe 2 years, that Burrow, Chase, a couple of these guys are not going to be happy with this organization in 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, it's just a mom and pop organization that is always going to make winning more difficult than it already is. And it's already really, really tough. Now, question for you. Hendrickson is a free agent at the end of the year. You know, are you moving him? Are you giving up the ship, or are you moving some pieces and probably going to end up with a top 5 pick anyway? Or do you call the Giants and say, I'll give you a 7th round pick for Russell Wilson and see if you can survive until Burrow shows up?
I think that's what you do. You call him and take Russell Wilson off the Giants' hands and pay him for the rest of the year. You're 25% of the way through. You probably owe him $15 million or something.
It's not bad,
but it's at least worth it. The way T. Higgins' contract is set up too, they can jettison him after 1 year.
I was thinking that too.
And it won't hurt him. But trust me, when it comes to trade deadline time, there are going to be people trying to trade for Trey Hendrickson, and they should, because it's a hot mess up in Cincinnati. We kind of expected it because, well, that's just the type of organization that it is. And for me, it's just at some point, in the NBA, we've seen it. We haven't seen it much in the NFL, of course, except for Daniel Snyder. At some point, somebody might have to step into Cincinnati and say, look, y'all are flat out embarrassing because this has gone on for too long. And the parts that they do, they're a good fan base. The media up there is wonderful. And for some reason, man, they just can't get right. And I guess the people in Cincinnati say, well, before you call us, you better call that other team in Ohio because they got a whole bunch of mess going up in Cleveland too. Here's my man Spencer German talking about the Browns. It's going to take a little bit because they got a lot of mess happening. Check this out.
Well, we thought it was happening. It's officially happened. Dylan Gabriel will be starting for the Cleveland Browns in London this week. I can't say I'm totally surprised. As I talked about on the podcast, like I thought they'd wait another week because this week's just so weird. You're going to London. You're changing the schedule. Cam Robinson just got traded for. You got to sort of get him up to speed. There's a lot kind of happening all at once to then put a rookie under center and make it his first start. But I can't say I'm surprised in overall that they're making the change, because the offense has been at rock bottom. And if Dylan Gabriel offers you some sign of hope that you can even be a little bit better than rock bottom, I understand why they're making the change. The mobility part of this is probably a big factor. Joe Flacco just cannot move. And I think adding Gabriel into the mix allows the Browns offense to do some of those things that Stefanski did back in the day with Baker Mayfield. Roll out to either side. Try to get some things going downfield in the passing game. The other issues still persist. The offensive line is still a mess. The guys catching passes are still dropping balls and being inconsistent.
Basically, Spencer, I had to cut him off because he was starting. Spencer was starting to name everything that was wrong, and there was like another 45 seconds left on that clip because there's a whole bunch. I know, right? We need a whole podcast to talk about what's wrong. Look, man, let me go here with Cleveland. It's an indictment, just like we were talking about Cincinnati. One of the indictments about their team is Lou Anarumo goes to the Colts, and they look like the Tony Dungy Colts all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
And one of the indictments on Cleveland is Baker Mayfield is a star. For an organization that gave up on him, they signed Deshaun Watson while he was in the middle and gave him a fully guaranteed contract while he had no leverage. He was in the middle of a storm down in Houston involving some off-field conduct. They draft Dylan Gabriel. Then they draft Shedeur Sanders. We'll get to that in a second. Spencer saying that Joe Flacco can't move around. Who didn't know that coming into the season, right, because he's 71 years old? This is a whole hot mess, man. And then Shedeur is acting like a mime in the locker room, and people are saying he should be start. I wouldn't want anything to do with it. And I'm going to tell you something, Matt, and I'm going to let you talk. This hides the fact that they actually drafted really well, surprisingly.
You beat me to it. I mean, because I was so critical of their draft. Not necessarily the players they took, but the fact that they didn't take any offensive linemen. You know, you trade out of the Hunter pick, you get all these other assets, and you draft 0 offensive linemen. I'll stand on that table forever that was just dumb. But the players they picked are working out really well. So I think there's 2 things to get excited about in Cleveland is this rookie class, and maybe Gabriel follows that up and looks okay. I mean, I think he's a ball distributor, get it out quick. And I think Stefanski's a good match for him and his style. And frankly, it might be the best defense in the league. Yeah. I mean, it really is. Garrett's playing like Lawrence Taylor. I mean, he's playing better than he ever has. The defense is phenomenal. So there are things to get excited about here, maybe even more so than Cincinnati. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I mean, if it wasn't for Burrow still looming out there, it's an easy conversation.
Mason Graham has played well on that good defense.
Yeah.
But when you just tapped into it. Armand Membo in New York, they just had my pick. They just had to trade for an offensive tackle. If you'd have got him, you wouldn't have had to trade for an offensive tackle because you have one, right? So Shedeur, I'm going to touch on this because I'm really sick of the story. I'm sick of it for multiple reasons. One, I thought the kid was better than the 5th round pick.
I did too. I thought it was a day 2 pick.
Yeah, but these the conspiracy theories, I don't understand how people are saying that the Browns are trying to sabotage him. Here's what happens. If he gets into the game and he stinks, they're going to still be accused of sabotaging. They're going to say, well, you ain't do this right or you didn't do that right. Personality is one thing. I think the Sanders family are good people, really good people, right? But Dan Orlovsky said it, man. It's a constant job interview, especially when you're a backup. You don't go in there in training camp and go 100 miles per hour in a truck. You just don't do it. There's a lot of things that just seem kind of cringy, and maybe the kid's being forced to be that way. Or to me, I would never bring attention to myself if I was the 3rd string quarterback. I'd beat everybody to the facility, and they'd have to kick me out at night.
Yeah, that's really the takeaway to me is be invisible, be a fly on the wall, work like crazy, hope for your time. Maybe that's even next preseason. But what people don't understand is if Sanders were the 2 for this game, you're trying to get a rookie ready to play Brian Flores in England. You know, like the number 2, Flacco or Sanders, might not even throw a pass in practice this week. You know what I mean? Like you're not spending any time on that number 2 quarterback. It has to be Flacco because he's at least played. I mean, if Gabriel were to get hurt in the first quarter and they threw in Sanders with basically no practice all week, he's got no chance. I mean, yeah, right. There's logistics to this.
Yeah, they have. I'm almost to the point where I can't even discuss it anymore because I don't even know what to say about it. But they're in a bad situation. We're going to talk about all the games that's going on this weekend. We're going to do a pick 'em and go around the league as we always do. We'll do that in just a second here on Locked On NFL.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
There you go, my man Cody Rourke with that message from Peloton. And we have a message for you right here, Locked On NFL twice a day, man. Tyler rolling early in the morning, and then me right here in the barbershop where you see me each and every day here on Locked On NFL. You get us twice a day. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Now let's go around the National Football League with Matty and make these picks. I did terrible last week, by the way, Matt. When you were in Ireland, man. I screwed that thing up. I picked them all myself, and I know people were probably in the comments saying, we ain't listening to him no more. We need Matt back. All right, the game you mentioned, 9:30 on Sunday morning, Minnesota against Cleveland.
Yeah, and I was in London, or I was in Ireland and saw the Vikings Steelers overseas, and I think it's a huge advantage for Minnesota just to stay overseas. I mean, that travel beat me up. I do think the Browns defense shows up, and this game's closer than you think, but the Vikings are going to get back on the winning side here.
Yeah, that was a good, entertaining game. I thought Pittsburgh was going to run away with it, and all of a sudden they made a game of it at the very, very end. Super exciting. Las Vegas didn't win last week, but did get my man Ashton Genty going. They probably need to figure out a way to get Brock Bowers going too, but they travel across the country and go see Indy and the fighting Lou Anarumos and the fighting Daniel Joneses.
Yeah, other than Genty getting wound up, there's not a lot to get excited about with Vegas. They're another team that lost a prominent offensive tackle, Colton Miller. I think they're in for a real long day in Indy.
Super long day.
Yeah.
The New York Giants and their new quarterback, minus their superstar wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, who is out for the year. They go to the Big Easy to play the Saints, who have not been a pushover, even though it's not showing up in the win-loss column, but they have played very, very tough.
They have. I'm going with the Giants, though. I know it's not an easy place to play for Dart, but I think the Giants' D-line is enough to keep this thing close. It's not a great game, obviously.
Not a great game. The Dallas Cowboys, who have turned into an offensive juggernaut, scoring a whole bunch of points, probably because they don't have Jordan Lewis and Michael Parsons running around on defense. They go to face the New York Jets, who had a little bit of success early and then started getting injuries and then got kind of pushed around in Miami. What you got?
Yeah, I think Dallas is a lot like the Bengals last year, where it's just like a race to 35 in every one of their games. And I just don't think the Jets play that way. You know, they want to run the ball. I think this is a Dallas win pretty handily.
I'm shocked that the defense isn't playing better with what they already have with the people they have on the back end. They got two of the best players on the, when you look at Quentin Williams and you look at Sauce Gardner, and then they got some decent players in the middle. It surprises me that they haven't been better. The Denver Broncos and Philadelphia Eagles, I really want to see this one, man. I do. This is, for me, I think about Vic Fangio. He was unceremoniously run out of Denver, and now how they're playing. This is a real good football game for teams that kind of mirror each other with their toughness.
Yeah, and I mentioned how great Myles Garrett's playing. I want to throw Nick Bonito in that mix too. He's been really, really good. I can't bet against the Eagles right now, though. They're just figuring out ways. They're doing it a lot of different ways. I think they win, and that's an awful place to play a 1 o'clock game.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible, man. Especially for them. Miami at Carolina. If there was one game that made you say, yuck, this week, this is probably the one.
This is very yucky. I guess I'll take the Panthers, but is Bryce Young on the verge of getting benched again? I mean, Andy Dalton's still out there.
Yeah, man, it's a hot mess. Don't know what's going to happen, but that is a tough game. Just to even think about that, man.
I know.
And you know what? Sunday, I'm going to be in Raleigh, and I think they're probably going to end up showing this game, man, and I'm going to have to be stuck watching it. All right, Houston at Baltimore, two teams that it'd be an understatement to say that they have not lived up to expectations this year.
No, I mean, I looked this up. If you go 1-4, which one of these teams is going to do, since 2000, you have a 7% chance of making the playoffs. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. Boy, I'm taking Houston, but I have no faith in their offense. Low-scoring, yucky game. I would hope that they can get Henry going again, but I'm taking it. I'm taking Houston.
If Baltimore needs to figure out how to get going on defense, they got the right offensive line in front of them. That is an antibiotic for your whatever ails you on defense to go up against that offensive line. The winless Tennessee Titans, the quarterback, well, I can't say what he said that they are, but he had some choice words about where they are. They go play Arizona. That's another team I can't quite figure out, but I do think Arizona's going to win this game.
Me too. I just can't take anyone over the Titans right now. I think there's firings coming very soon.
Yeah, Tampa Bay got off to a slow start against Philly, tried to make a run at it lately. Then they got, they're still banged up. They haven't had their full complement of teams. Seattle, they have to go to Seattle, and Seattle is one of the teams that has surprised me. I thought they were bottom 3 in the league, actually, and they're nowhere near that.
Nowhere near that. I think this is one of the best games of the weekend. I think this could be a playoff. They may play twice this year. I mean, I think these are playoff-type teams. I guess I'll take Seattle, but I kind of think it's a true coin flip.
It is a coin flip. Now, in what were they thinking? This sounds like one of those early in the year. It's going to look like one of those early in the year Alabama versus Southwest Louisiana State games because Detroit goes to Cincinnati.
And they blow teams out. I mean, they're one of those teams that when they get a bad team, they blow them out, and I expect a blowout.
Yeah, man, they got this. This is one where you tell all the women and kids to just go have a picnic. Don't even look at the TV screen because it's going to be that bad. Washington versus the Los Angeles Chargers. This is an interesting game.
I think Daniels is back, right? I mean,
yep.
Okay. That's enough for me. I really think the way the Chargers are built, losing both offensive tackles, I hate to say it could be the beginning of the end because I have great respect for Harbaugh and Herbert, but I think that is a really difficult blow to overcome.
To think that the Titans thought it was a good idea to get rid of Mike Vrabel and to end up with Callahan. You better be careful what you ask for. I'm telling you. They might be calling and talking about, hey, big head, we sorry, but that's all right. Now, it hasn't manifested itself all the way with New England, even though they are a bit improved, but they got a tough matchup against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills, but I would, whatever the spread is, I would take the Patriots and the points. I mean, I think they will put up point. No one talks about the Bills' defense being bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's so bad I dumped them off my fantasy team. That's how bad it is. Okay. There's another team. They're another one, man, that just seems like they're just doing what they need to do to win games. I don't think it's sustainable over the long haul, especially when they start playing better teams and competition. Now the big game, Monday night, right here in Jacksonville, Florida, Kansas City, the fighting Patrick Mahomes come in to a Jacksonville Jaguar team that should be 4-0, and their defense is playing like their feet are on fire.
Yeah, and as you know, I just want to make sure all the listeners know, Jacksonville's O-line, I didn't see that coming. I mean, I thought it was going to be one of the weakest spots on the team, and boy, it's playing really, really well. Kind of reminds me of the Bucs last year, like kind of O-line that came from nowhere. I'm still taking the Chiefs. I think Worthy coming back went a long way to giving them just a little bit of juice on offense, but I bet Jacksonville hangs around. I think this is going to be a good game.
It is going to be a good game. And I say it's going to be a dogfight, but this will be the chance for people to see with their own eyes and not listen to what folks say about Travis Hunter, what folks say about Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to be a national coming out party for Anthony Campanile, the defensive coordinator, who everybody thinks is one and done here because of how he's turned that unit around. We lead the league in turnovers. And I think we're first or second in rushing. So, and Trevor Lawrence has not been sacked. So there you go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're right about the offensive line. They are playing really, really well. Anton Harrison looks like an all-pro this year.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
And one of the ones that have jumped the most.
Yeah, man. And Robert Hainsey, the center Hainsey that they got from the Bucs, he's coming here and he's played really well also. All right, man. Matt Williamson, we always appreciate you. Check him out on the Peacock and Williamson podcast. Remember, Locked On NFL is the place for you to be if you want to know what's happening from around the National Football League, because we use local experts, and that is the most important thing. We are glad you joined us for 31 minutes. We do not take you for granted. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We'll see you next time here on Locked On NFL.